Happy Friday the 13th to everyone. I'm catching it a little late. I think I only have about 25 minutes left in this Friday the 13th. But we celebrated this Friday the 13th by going up to Flagstaff, and Kaylee got a Jason Voorhees mask tattooed on her arm. And actually, I think it was her right arm, right here. And then right after, we went and caught Don't Breathe 2, the sequel that's taken about 5 years to make, which is crazy. I just didn't think that movie was that old until I looked up that it was 2016 and was just like kind of blown away that Don't Breathe 1 is that old at this point. It just feels like it was like a year or two ago, but 5 years, wow, that's crazy. We also watched Don't Breathe part 1 last night to kind of refresh my memory on the film, and it was Kaylee's first time. So we got to go into this one tonight. And I don't know if you guys saw the trailer or not. I know I typically try to stay as spoiler free on these things as I possibly can. But I did watch a few other people's reviews, friends of mine, just kind of wondering what they were thinking of it. And after having listened to their reviews, I heard some things that they were saying, and I was really paying attention to it within the film. And I'm going to have to disagree with the things that they're saying, and I'll get to what those are here in a second. But Don't Breathe 2 takes place a good while after the first film. And this does not pick up where the other one left off, in the sense of that we're not going to follow the Rocky Jane Levy storyline anymore. That has been completely abandoned. Whether or not Jane didn't want to return, I think is what happened. Doesn't matter. Whatever it is, I honestly do not have any interest in seeing that, nor did I have any interest in ever seeing that. I don't think that would make any sense at all. The blind man chasing down a girl to California to, retrieve his money and impregnate her, or who the fuck? I don't see that working at all, so I'm glad she didn't return, and I'm glad that's not the movie we got. Now in this one, the blind man has a new daughter, and he is raising her to be a survivalist. And then some bad folk come around and put her life in danger, and the blind man must protect her. As you know, we were talking about this movie on the way home, and I will say off the bat, just for the people who want to get to it, I did like this movie. I had a good time with it. I think that there are conveniences, and that there are things that you kind of just have to accept. Like, would that really happen? And could that? And why wouldn't they just do this? And there are things like that in this film, and I don't feel like the first one suffers from that. And that might be because there's a different director this time around. But the same guys worked on it. So the same guys who wrote the first film wrote this one. And the guys who wrote the first film, one of them was the director of the first film, and one of them was the director of this second film. So it was kind of like they wrote these two together. One directed one, and the other one directed the other. And Fadi's just a better director. I mean, from what I've seen of this, who knows what this guy will make in the future? Maybe he'll prove himself to be the better one later on. But as of right now, from these, within this franchise, Fadi's definitely doing better. But then again, he doesn't have things working against him. Now, a lot of complaints that I'm hearing about the film is that they paint the blind man, played by Stephen Lang here again, as the protagonist that you're supposed to root for. This is where I disagree. I don't think and because I had watched their reviews, and I had heard that from a few people now, I was really paying attention to that, and I have to disagree. I feel like the journey, I'll say it a different way. The person you're rooting for, the person you care about, the person that you want to see survive, the person that you feel sympathy or empathy for, is the young girl named Phoenix in this film. And the actress who plays Phoenix in this movie is fantastic. I mean, just excellent. What an incredible performance by this young girl. She's, what, 11, 12, somewhere in that area. So, I mean, kudos to this girl, because kid actors can be, kind of risky. They can be known to not give the best performances, but I thought she was excellent, and you're very much rooting for her. And to stay away from spoilers, I will just say that the blind man really is... I don't know what to say as far as non-spoilers go on this, but I guess I do not see him as the hero. I did not feel like he was the person I was trying to empathize with. He just seemed like a means to protect what was most precious in the film, and that is Phoenix. Now, there are some twists and turns in this movie that are pretty surprising, and there's something that happens in it that is definitely one of the most despicable acts that I think that I've seen in a film in a long time, that made me actually upset. In the film, was sitting there wow, how can people be so awful? Arguably about the worst thing you could possibly do. I mean, it's so bad. It's so fucking bad. So anyways, yeah, overall, and I do like how it ends. I think that it kind of wraps things up and doesn't... God, it's so tough not to talk spoilers here. I don't want to make it obvious on things that happen within the film, but there are good surprises. I also heard people talking about there's a good amount of gore in the film. This I disagree with as well. There's some, but it's pretty minimalistic. Now, granted, the first film isn't all that gory. I mean, there's very little, and this is the same. And the first film is much more tense. This film is a little bit more action-packed. This feels more like a Taken movie in a way. Not that action-packed, but similar vibes. You know what film this actually reminded me of the most, I have to say? And there seemed to actually even be an homage to it in this, was a movie called Leon the Professional, which is one of my favorite films of all time. And while I was watching it, it felt reminiscent of it, of this guy who takes, he has this little girl, and he is training her. And, there's even a line in this movie that somebody says that is very reminiscent of Gary Oldman's character saying, "Everyone." And I remember when he said that, I was like, Jesus, that's even very professional. So that was kind of interesting to see that this film felt a lot like that. Another thing that Kaylee and I were talking about on our way home was, I don't want to see the Rocky storyline. I just don't. I think that would be stupid. I don't think that would make any sense at all. And I don't even know how you could get it. He's blind. There's no fucking way. There's no way. They make it? Sure. I don't know. Outside of an accomplice, I don't know. Anyway, but I was asking her, I was like, what would be a better storyline? We can't have people break into his house again to steal something. We can't have, what's the logical next storyline here? I feel like this is, the best they could come up with. If you're not going after Rocky, I don't know what else to do but this. I mean, maybe if you sat me down for a week or a month and made me think of something else, I could come up with it. But just kind of off the top of my head, sitting here, I was like, I don't know what else they could have done. I mean, other than just don't make the movie. But because I liked the film, I'm not as high on it as the first one, and I really enjoyed the first one a lot. I like that this one exists. I don't feel like it harms the first one. And as I said, I just don't find the blind man to be sympathetic. I think that they handle that well, and there's some dialogue that he gives at the end that makes me, feel even stronger about that. That there's definitely no, it's not about redemption. It's not about making this guy seem like he's just misunderstood. I don't see that personally, but we can disagree on that. Overall, I enjoyed it. I think it's a good follow up. I think that people will definitely be disappointed if they think like it's going to be on the same level or they want it to be better. I don't think you're going to get that out of it. I don't see a lot of people seeing that this is a better film. But I think it's a cool follow-up and definitely different than I would have ever expected for a Don't Breathe sequel. That's for sure. But yeah, let me know if you see it and what you think. And if there's anybody out there who actually prefers it over the first one, I could see that being the case. I liked aspects of it a lot because I'm a dad of daughters, so I kind of have that bias always going into these things. But yeah, so as I said, happy Friday the 13th. I hope everyone had fun, and let me know what you did to celebrate the holiday. Did you watch any Friday the 13th? We were going to do a Friday the 13th Part 8 Jason Takes Manhattan live stream because Kaylee has never seen it. It's the only Friday the 13th she has not seen. But because she went and got the tattoo and whatnot, we just couldn't get back in time. But right now, I am going to go watch brand new Cherry Flavor, episode 2. Very excited. Definitely be checking that out if you haven't seen it. Other than that, adios, guys.